she wrote me a letter. She wrote me a letter. And in the letter, she said, I'll hold God's hand while I wait, knowing that I didn't know if I was going to come back, because if I was to serve 15 months of military service in Italy, I don't know what would remain of our relationship. It could just fizzle out. But she said, I'll hold God's hand while I wait. And that became the title of the book.
And today we are delighted to have a good friend and a welcome friend always here at Nashville Catholic Radio, John Bosio. You can tell by that laugh, John, it's so great to have you.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, you're welcome here anytime. You walk in the door, the microphone will go on. It's yours. John was so instrumental in keeping Nashville Catholic Radio rolling for so many years, and got us to the point where we're at today with our new studio and everything else. And my gosh, John, your leadership there for many, many years, it just made this what it is today. And
no, I passed the baton to you.
Well, and Jim. But anyhow, we're delighted. You made our trek so easy, and like I say, it's what a gift from God you are to all of us, as well as everybody who knows you.
Thanks a lot for your compliments.
Well, John is an accomplished writer. He and his dear wife, Terry, were very much involved with helping marriages, helped our marriage, and not John's and mine, Valerie's and mine. But anyhow, it's just been a delight to work with him as he's written books, or actually Terry and him wrote books, yes, and did classes for many, many years on different subjects within marriage. And even though we lost Terry a few years ago, she's with us today. That's for doggone sure.
Yeah.
And John wrote a book, and I'm going to let John tell the story because he lives it. And so anyhow, John, give us a reason why you are here today. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for me to tell you this. First of all, the book is finished, but it's not published. Mm-hmm. So it's not available right now for anybody else. And it will be, I hope it will be published. I'm looking for a publisher. So. But the book, I want to talk about this book because it is something that means a lot to me and to our family. The reason why I wrote it is because it was really a request from Terry. She, one day when we were driving around Mount Juliet, she says, mm-hmm, you should write a book about what happened to us in 1972. In fact, we have about 120 letters that we exchanged during that time. And I think that our family and our children and grandchildren need to know the story. So would you do that? And I said, sure, I will. And of course, I started, but I never got anything anywhere until when she died in 2024, I decided to honor her. I need to do this. I need to write this book. So I started by going back and reading the letters and just getting inspired by that and deciding how to tell the story, because the story is a little complicated. So here's the story. But the book is more than just a story. It's about the faith, our faith, and how we coped with it, with what happened. The story is that
it's really a story of love.
It is a story of love, but it's a story of trusting God.
Yeah.
Really. It started in 1972. She and I were dating. We got engaged. And shortly after we got engaged, I received a letter from the Italian government. I was an Italian citizen at the time, saying, you need to come home to do your mandatory service because you skipped it.
Yeah.
But when I was in the seminary, I was exonerated from the service. So now I had left the seminary, and they said, okay, now you have to come back.
And what was the time between the time you left the seminary and you got the message?
1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I left in 1970, and then I asked for 1 year to think about it, to make a decision. And by 71, 72 is when I got the letter. So the question for me was difficult to answer whether to go or not, because on the one hand, I felt I have an obligation to go home, but it was like a catch-22. If I go home, I don't have a visa to come back. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I got a job in Kansas City, in Overland Park, first thing I did, and I intended to establish myself in the United States and become a citizen, I applied for a permanent residence. And that takes time. And
Right.
they told me, while you are waiting for the permanent resident visa, you cannot leave the country, otherwise you don't have a visa. So I was either I can become a draft dodger
Mm-hmm.
and stay here and forget
You
it.
just don't look like a draft dodger, though, John.
Well, I didn't. I'm not. Either I go to Italy and serve, or become a draft dodger, or if I stay here, I don't know if I go. I don't know when I can come back because I don't have a
Right.
visa.
Yeah.
So ultimately, after some prayer and discussion, Terry and I decided it's better if you go, in case if you are a draft dodger, we won't be able to go back to Italy
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to visit. We might as well be right with Italy too. So we said, well, okay, I'm going. So I left on May 1st, 1972. And on that day, she wrote me a letter. And in the letter, she said, I'll hold God's hand while I wait, knowing that I didn't know if I was going to come back. Because if I was to serve 15 months of military service in Italy, I don't know what would remain of our relationship. It could just fizzle out. But she said, I'll hold God's hand while I wait. And that became the title of the book. To just
Very fitting.
Yeah, very fitting to what happened. So because we were both anxious, and I was angry that I had to do this, so I went and presented myself to the military authorities. And of course, I made all sorts of excuses. I had a doctor's report from my doctors from the United States saying I had some physical problems, to please consider that. And they did not want to consider that. They just said, you need to serve. I said, well, is there any other option? Well, you can ask to go to the military hospital to get a physical. Sign me up. So I went to the military hospital for a physical, and that took forever. I would go, it was in Turin. The hospital was in Turin. And I stayed with my sister who lived in Turin. And every morning I would report to the hospital at 8 o'clock. And they was just waiting. I would just wait. I spent the day waiting, sometimes the whole day without anything, just because I depended on them being able to call me. Anyway.
Sure.
So this went on for 2 weeks. And during this time,
which was an eternity.
It was an eternity. And I was actually at one point, sitting there doing nothing, questioning, what's the point of praying? Is God forgotten me? Why am I here? What's happening? But they always come back to, no, I think God will take care of me. And remember to hold God's hand and continue to, I was saying the rosary daily. And Terry, the parish was praying for me because I was the director of religious education at
That's right. You were there in Kansas.
And so the parish was having novenas for me and all of that. So on May 18, I finally received the final answer, what they thought was the final answer. They made an announcement. They called me. They said, Giovanni Bosio, or Bosio Giovanni. That was my name in Italian. And so they said, you come back in 6 months. And so I went to look at the bulletin board where they posted it. It said, get well, come back in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I couldn't come back in 6 months. I don't live in Italy. I was staying with my father, and it was not a very happy situation there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want, so I decided I need to do something. I don't know what. So I went to pray in the chapel at the hospital and asking for guidance. I don't know what to do. So I decided I'm going to talk to the director, the one who made the decision, if I can catch him. So I went to his office and waited by the door. Wait. Finally, he comes out, and I said, and he seems to be in a hurry. I said, can I talk to you, please, sir? He says, no, I'm on my way to a meeting. I said, can I walk with you to your meeting? I was desperate and talk to you. Yes, you can. So we were walking in the rain. He was walking to us.
You're a good salesman, John. You know it?
Well, I was desperate. And so I told him my situation. He stops and he said, looked at the paper that the doctors gave me. He says, "You should not be here. You should not have come." I said, "Well, sir, can you help me?"
Right. Help, help. I want to go
He
home.
did not answer, but he said, "Okay, go get one of my aides and tell them to come to me. We'll rescind the order I gave about you. Come back tomorrow and we'll review the case." Finally, somebody was listening. Again, God was working.
You need me over here, John. Right here. This
Right
guy.
there. So the next day I went, and it was a nice meeting with there was the director and two other doctors, and we met, and they checked me out, and then they started talking like, "So what do you do in the United States?" And we went on for a while, and then finally said, "Okay, well, why did not go away, then we'll give you an answer." So about 5 minutes later, somebody else called me and said, "You are excused from the military service." Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I sent a telegram to Terry saying, "I'm excused from military service." And then well, now I don't have a visa. What do I do?
Now what am I going to do? Right.
I cannot get back to the United States. Thank you, God, for
Yeah.
first part of the miracle here.
But I need a little more.
I need a little more. I need to get back. So I went to the United States Consulate in Genoa,
Mm-hmm.
which was about 4 hours from my home by train, and started the process. And they told me, "Well, you already had this. You already received this visa in April when you went to the immigration office in Kansas City. What happened?" I said, "Well, they didn't give it to me because I was leaving to come to Italy." And they
Right.
said, "Well, wait, and you're going to be gone for 15 months. Wait to get your visa when you get back." So I'm here now. Please help me.
Yeah.
So they did, and it took about 2 months, and we were done with that.
Yeah.
And then by August 5th, I was able to get back home.
Mm-hmm.
And we got home, and we got married in November of that year, and that was the story. But the role of faith had a lot to do with that. And as I was writing this, a lot happened to me. I mean, started writing right after Terry died. Terry died of Alzheimer's, and I was I was grieving. I was very depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But reading the letters and starting to remember the story, it was like she was there with me the whole time I was writing, and both inspiring me to what to write or reminding me of things that she had read. Because we were writing each other almost daily. I would write, she would
Right.
write. And there was about a lag of 5 days between the letters. And so by looking at this conversation that was going on,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot that I wanted to capture for our children and grandchildren. And so that's what the book is about. And it's looking at that process and the process of getting the visa and all of that until I got back.
And the flow of the conversation of your letters going back and forth, I thought that was very intriguing. It was, it was like she was there with you.
Oh,
Anyhow,
yes,
I mean,
yes,
I
yes.
mean, mentally she was, but I
Right.
mean, it almost felt like physically she was
Yes.
by her writing.
By
But I mean, it was just when I was reading it, I just felt, wow, this is really neat, and it's not easy to write like that, John.
No, I don't think. I mean, looking back, I wonder to myself sometimes, I wrote this. I was surprised by what I wrote
Uh-huh.
because it was very nice and very beautiful and a lot of statement of faith and trusting God and letting. Because one of the things I discovered as I was writing it and looking at my life, and I did some looking backward at the background information, and then looking forward at our life, I found many places where things happened to my life, to me, that made my life turn in a particular way without me wanting it to.
Mm-hmm.
But it was leading to something greater. And so, for example, when I was in seminary in Italy, I had no desire, no inclination, no expectations to come to the United States.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
my
that
superior
something?
said, no, you have to go to and there was a lot of opposition. My uncle, my father, they were all opposed to it. They said, no, we want him to go to the United States and study. And I didn't know a word of English.
Yeah.
So I spent a year in Buffalo, New York.
Right,
to
I
learn
remember.
English.
Yeah.
Then I went to Catholic University in Washington, D.C., to do my theology. And it was tough because English was still, after 1 year, was still difficult.
I can well
So that was
imagine.
one case where, if I had not come to the United States, my future, I wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
I would be somewhere in Italy.
Yeah.
Then the other one was when I was studying in Washington. I was looking for a place to go to serve for the summer, a volunteer, program or something.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And I found a program in Wichita, Kansas, that worked with volunteers and the underprivileged people in the city. And they basically said, sorry, but we are full, but we recommend you write to the similar program in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. So that became the connection with Kansas City that eventually took me to Terry.
Sure.
So things like that I had no control over, but were kind of God's providence leading me to places that
We were just so Valerie and I were just so impressed with the book and the way that you wrote it. And the title, "I'll Hold God's Hand While I Wait." I can hear Terry saying that. That and it just really, really. It's one of those books. I'm not a reader, as I shared with you before. John was kind enough to ask Valerie and I to read through the manuscript at the particular time and give him any suggestions we may have had. And I'm not a person to, like I say, read a book. I mean, I look at a magazine, the words of pictures, and that's easy, But I picked up your book, as I've done other books of yours, and just I read through it. It went rather quickly. And it's not because I wanted to get through it. It's because it flowed for me.
Yeah.
And I think you have such a gift at sharing with couples about first of all, marriage information and such. But I mean, to share that story, it flowed, John.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that. One of the things I learned from writing the book that is very important is that sometimes the obstacles we encounter are there to teach us something.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that Terry and I grew a lot through this particular experience that summer, all that pain we went through. I learned a lot from the time when I was downsized, lost my job, I had to move, come back again to Nashville. I learned a lot during the time of Alzheimer's with Terry.
Mm-hmm.
So those obstacles is almost like, you pray to God to guide you through it because He's not going to take it away.
Right.
Some things He's not going to take away,
but
to guide you through it and give you the wisdom and the strength to do His will in that process. And things happen, and good things happen, but you have to go through the pain before.
Right.
And sometimes we don't.
And just appreciate it more, I guess, because we go through pain like that.
Only after.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But when you go through the pain, it's pain. I mean, it's tough, and you need to be sure that you don't lose don't forget that you need to hold God's hand through the pain, and He will be there. There is an interesting passage from Jeremiah that it has been part of my inspiration, which I'm going to read to you here. It says, God says, "For I know well the plans I have in mind for you, says the Lord. Plans to give you a future full of hope. When you call me and come and pray to me, I will listen to you."
Mm-hmm.
And there's another passage from Isaiah that ties to the holding hand, which I just discovered recently. It was in one of the morning readings. It says, "I am the Lord your God who grasps your right hand. It is I who says to you, do not fear, I will help you."
Yeah.
So that's a constant invitation to trust in God and let God guide you through the ups and downs of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In case you just joined us, this is Faith and Business on Nashville Catholic Radio. Our guest today, John Bosio, who is a great friend a of us, a lot of us people, as well as Nashville Catholic Radio. And John, we're delighted to have you here today. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that we talked a little bit about Turin, and you're leading a pilgrimage to Turin as well as some other places over in Italy coming up here in June.
Yes.
Could you take a few minutes to just share with us a little bit about the
Absolutely.
pilgrimage? We've got about 5 minutes.
Yes, yes. It will be a group headed by Father Pat Kibbe, myself, and my daughter Angie.
Mm-hmm.
And we would
Will
like.
you get a chance to say anything if Father Kibbe's with you? I mean,
It's okay.
Yeah.
Let him talk.
Oh, he's a great man.
Yeah, he's great, and he's very easy to relate to. But it would be like a pilgrimage that is not a tour. It's not a tourist kind of thing. It's a spiritual journey that we will do. It will be through the church history from the
Mm-hmm.
Evangelists all the way to the most recent saints, Saint Pier Giorgio Frassati.
Frassati,
Who was
yes.
from Turin, and
Mhm.
we'll go pray in his tomb. So we will go to Italy. It will be a northern Italy tour. We will go from Venice to Turin, and we'll go from the evangelist Mark. The tomb of Mark is there. The tomb of Luke is in Padua with Saint Anthony
Mm-hmm.
of Padua. And then we will stop in Bergamo, where we will visit the house of Saint John the 23rd, who was the Pope
Mhm.
of the Council. And then in Milan, of course, we will meet Ambrose, Saint Ambrose, who taught Augustine and baptized him. And
Mhm.
we will go visit his baptistry where he was baptized. His mother Monica was there.
Yeah.
And then later on, in the years in Milan, there's also Saint Charles Borromeo, who was very instrumental during the Reformation.
Mhm.
During the Council of Trent, he was very active in the Council of Trent. And then later on in Milan, the Saint Pope Paul VI, he was the Archbishop of Milan before he was made Pope.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then before that, then after that, then we'll go to Turin,
Mm-hmm.
which is where I spent the time during
Sure.
the book.
Yeah.
And there are the saints that are called the social saints because they all came up around the industrialization age. They were trying to help the changes that were happening in society. And so you are probably familiar with St. John Bosco, whose feast day we celebrated on January 31st,
Mm-hmm.
just a few days ago.
Right.
And then St. Joseph Cafasso and St. Pier Giorgio Frassati and many others. And we will visit their tombs and pray at their tombs and just walk through that. And we will finish the tour with a pilgrimage to an abbey that is located on top of a mountain. It was built in the year 1000 and is still the active abbey. So we'll have mass there. The last mass in Italy will be a Sunday mass. We'll do it in the abbey.
And I've seen a picture of where this is. The fact that it was built in 1000, how did they get the stuff up there?
Yes, that's a miracle itself.
It is. It is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's some information out about this particular tour as well. What is it going, June 20th to the 29th?
29.
Of 2026.
Yes.
I got to mention that because people hear this a year or two from now and say, well, is it going this year? And if you're interested, I would encourage you to write to John. I'm going to give you his email address. It's Bosio, spelled Bosio, and that's the number of 1, correct?
Yes.
The way I write it looks like a different number. At AOL.com. And if we hadn't gone last year for a month, we would be on the tour with you this year, that's for sure, because it looks so interesting. It's an area where we've really never been.
Yeah.
I was on a train in Milan, and that's about as close to that as I can say that we'd been there, but it looks just wonderful. I mean, it looks like it's a unique pilgrimage to places where you will really go to pray.
Right. Well, but some places like Venice is nice to watch too, and enjoy a gondola.
Oh, sure,
trip,
yeah,
all those things.
yeah.
And Milan will be the remnants of the Olympics.
Well, that's true. Are you going to go ski there?
No, in June, there won't be much to ski.
Well, you never can tell. But the if it's
We're
like,
going to see the Leonardo da Vinci Last Supper.
neat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And in Padua, we're going to see the Scrovegni Chapel, which is a chapel painted by Giotto completely, with all the life of Jesus and the life of St. Francis. A beautiful place.
Yeah, it's Italy is a wonderful place to visit in the first place, and if you're thinking about going, I would seriously consider this if you're looking for a pilgrimage that you wouldn't see, necessarily everywhere. This is a little bit off the beaten track, which makes it so appealing to so many people, and you still have a few spaces left at this particular point in time. But yeah, I would encourage you to go because with John, Angie, his daughter, and Father Kibbe, how could you possibly lose, Anyhow.
For us, it'll be a family trip because Laura, my other daughter, also is coming.
Oh, that's right. Laura's going too. Oh,
Yeah.
well, it'll be a family reunion for you as well as a great visit by everybody else that's going to be with you. Anyhow, so once again, if you're interested in thinking about that, it's Bosio, Bosio, the number 1 at AOL.com. John, I'm sorry I had to bring your pilgrimage up because it's just neat. But we've been talking about John's new book, I'll Hold God's Hand While I Wait, and what a gift that's going to be to everybody. Yeah. It was to Valerie and I when we had the chance to read it, and how can you lose? It's a beautiful book.
As far as the future of the book, I leave it in God's hand. If he wants it published, it will be published.
Okay, that sounds good. And we hope that you'll all be interested and nudge that little bit, however you can. John, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your visit anytime. Okay,
thank you, Ron. You're a great host. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming here. Hey, if you know someone who has a great faith journey to share, I'd love to speak with that person on a future faith and business program. Drop me a line at ron.flights, that's spelled F as in Frank, Leitz as in zebra, at NashvilleCatholicRadio.org, and we'll do our best to make sure that their story is shared here on Faith and Business. Faith and Business is locally produced and made possible through the generous donations of our listeners, sponsors, and the Diocese of Nashville. Broadcast worldwide via the Nashville Catholic Radio app, streaming at NashvilleCR.com, and locally available at 100.5 FM. We're shining the light of our Catholic faith from Nashville Catholic Radio. Until we meet again, my sincere thanks for listening. God bless you, and have a great faith journey.